Hi, everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for the finale of Survivor 46. My name is Mike Bloom, and whew, I woke up. It's an election year, and there's a controversial Survivor finale result. Feeling like 2016 all over again. But here we are to break down a big finale and a very big discussion in the days following the finale, I should say, as of course, Survivor 46 is going to conclude in such a wild, unexpected way, considering the previous 13 episodes that we got. Of course, I'm not alone in this. We are the final three to talk about 46 here on the B&B. First, my beloved shirt twin, my ride or die on the B&B. Liana, should we flaunt
Okay,
the merch?
wait. Oh, yours looks better than mine.
Yeah, okay. So, for those that might not remember this, or who didn't tune in a couple weeks ago when we had Jamie Lynn Ruiz on, so we did a Price is Right game where we looked at some Etsy stuff, and I had found a t-shirt of Jeff Probst in a cowboy hat from an undetermined, like, unpublicized photo shoot. We think it might be Australian Outback, because he's wearing, like, a Outback-adjacent hat. And we were obsessed with the misprints that had come in from several customer complaints. And so, Liana and I both speedily ordered these. It was a little touch and go. We did receive word at one point that the store stopped producing said item. I think we got two of the final shirts in this store. Never have I been more mad that someone did their job properly, because I got a pristine edition here. Liana, you've got a little bit of like corner fading.
Yeah, yours looks good. Maybe it's the color that it's like printed on. I still can't get over, like, if you were to show me this picture, I don't know if I would immediately recognize it as Jeff Probst. Like, there's something just a little bit off about it. I was telling Puya, it's kind of like a Tommy Lee Jones face morph with Jeff Probst, and that's sort of all I can see now when I look at my t-shirt. But I'm not gonna lie, kind of obsessed with it. Very excited. Yeah, the seller goes off Etsy. We have no idea if we're gonna get our shirts or not. So it was a ride. I'm so excited that Mike and I now have matching t-shirts. It's all I've ever wanted in life.
Absolutely. Well, unlike Tommy Lee Jones, we didn't have to search every outhouse, henhouse, doghouse to find our guest today, because I'm so excited to bring this person on, making his B&B debut. But a mere 365 days ago, we were watching the first glimpse of him on our televisions talk about his family's history with bank robbing. So I'm so happy to have stolen this guest from other RHAP podcasts to bring onto the B&B, the great Brandon Donlon.
Listen, remember that preview? Remember they made bank robbing? I was so nervous to watch the preview just because they had a lot of material. And then all of a sudden the bank robbing monologue comes out. And I was so, you can see in the clip that we all like filmed it and watched it. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, it's better than what we thought. They could have showed a lot. But now we're here. And now, I got to experience watching the 47 preview with a lot of 46ers. So now it's cyclical, and I'm so thrilled to be here to talk about that and all the rest of the episode. That's the part of the episode I was looking the most forward to. And then the first 2 hours and 57 minutes were fantastic.
Sure. It was just a fantastic prelude to that one moment. Yeah, I do have to ask about this, because we got a whole ass hour and a half, basically, with like commercials out of you over the course of your 2 episodes on Survivor 45. How did this one thing only make the promo and not the episodes proper?
I mean, I wasn't exactly giving a bank robber during the time on the program. It would have been fun if I had to throw away, like, this is the family that did the bank robbery. But I have a tattoo that's right here that I talked about on camera. I thought that maybe that would be, this is the newspaper headline of my grandfather when he robbed the bank. I have right here, Darby Bank bandit jailed for 8 years is right on my side here. But they had a lot of material to work with. Your boy didn't, your boy gave him some stuff to work with. So we're thrilled that it turned out the way it did. And now, Delta Airlines, I don't know if you've heard, but the only season on Delta Airlines right now is Survivor 45. The first 4 episodes, I believe. So,
wow. Why did they not put Survivor Africa up there in perpetuity? Does that not feel like brand loyalty to T-Bird?
You would think, but now I'm sponsored by United Airlines. Don't watch the episodes. Fly United, fly a different airline. The seatback entertainment much better.
Oh my God!
If you're on Delta, shout out to. I'm getting a lot of pictures. And I now I can't fly. I'd rather I'll duck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that you were not a fan of flying. Would this be any sort of incentivizer for you now?
It's interesting. Now I'm chilling. It's a total 180. I am. I've flown so much in the fall doing all the stuff, and even just the past couple months, survivor trips, unrelated survivor trips. If we die, we die. If we're in the air and we go down, we go down. It's once you have that in your head, it's fine. A little turbulence, it doesn't feel great, but it's not anything to be, you can be cured. If you're watching this and you're worried if you can be cured from your fear of flying. I almost didn't go to Fiji. And now I'm like, I can fly to LaGuardia from Fort Lauderdale. Who cares? That would be a shitty flight to die on. If you're going to die on a flight, fly to like France, like go somewhere nice. I guess you'll never make it there, but at least you have the intent of what it would be like if you got there.
Okay, good. Life lessons from Brandon Donlon. You're gonna die on a plane.
I love this.
Fly to France.
Yeah, like I didn't realize we were booking Brandon for Tony Robbins-esque motivational speaking. I also am obsessed with the idea of like, do you think there are airline execs curating which Survivor seasons to put? And like, what should be matched with what? Is Worlds Apart the Spirit Airlines of Survivor seasons?
Yeah, it's one iPad that's like taped like the front.
Only looping the auction episode of Worlds Apart over and over again.
Yeah, this it's very interesting. I don't know why they picked the first 4 episodes. I remember, I think it was Delta had season 41 and 42, the whole season. It's just the first 4 episodes, which if you ask Reddit, it would be not the episodes that they would have picked in the curation. But they're there. If you're flying somewhere, then you can, take a couple hours and spend them with, your good friends, Hannah, Sabaya, Sean, myself, and everybody else. It was mostly just that crew for the first couple episodes.
Yeah, I imagine watching the first 4, then like your plane lands at, I don't know, Cleveland, and you're like, man, I hope those Lulus turn out okay. Surely it'll turn around for them at some point.
Yeah, I hope that social media was super positive for all of them. This is the tone of which the Survivor finale week has gone. It's just such a bleak couple days. It's crazy. People are showing up at Kenzie's salon. Everybody hates Maria on the internet. It's crazy. It's not an ideal couple days for people. Also, I know the people that listen to this are good people, but be nice. If this ends up in your YouTube thing and you don't listen to this normally and you've somehow made it in 7 minutes of your boy, be nice.
Several.
It's so several minutes. It's so easy to just be nice, or just don't say anything. And don't show up to people's place of work. That's crazy. And don't tweet that we should be okay with them coming to work because we signed up for reality TV. Like, listen, I work remotely. That would be like you showing up at my house. Crazy.
Well, now I want to try it. So I don't know. That just sounded like
Liana.
Show up at Brandon's house. Hi.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, it's fun.
No, I mean, I think you're absolutely correct. Like, it always still baffles me, the reaction sometimes with certain groups of fans that I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Yeah. Everybody chill. It's TV. Everything's fine. You're fine. Your life is fine. Let's like step away from all of this toxicness and just go back to like enjoying the show. And obviously you can be critical of players' moves and that's okay. But like when it comes to just crossing those boundaries, it's of course absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah. I mean, they've tried to balance it out. Again, Survivor 46 cast, like, you really cannot take their temperature. You never know, because you could argue, okay, post-finale, now the gloves are truly off, but like, Hunters hosted a mini reunion on Saturday where each person came on and answered like 2nd grade brain quest questions from him. He just posted an entire thread of describing Survivor 46 through clips of the Emperor's New Groove. So again, Jeff, I know, kept saying that the season was unpredictable. Nowhere is that more clear than just watching the second narrative this entire time of everything that's happened online and how things have come out. And look, this could be a very old podcast by the time it gets posted. Like, we could talk right now, and then like 6 hours from now, when's this posted, somebody just absolute sets off a bomb, and it turns out that, yep, all that goodwill is nuked all over again. So again, it would not be Survivor 46, in my opinion, if we did not have all this wackadoo chaos around. That being said, do not be the chaos, fans. If anything, the players can create the chaos themselves. It is not in your behest to make that on their behalf.
Absolutely. Be nice. It's so much easier to be nice. And also, like, everybody's, no matter how well you do at the program, everybody's going through their own mental things that, somebody, I think Gabby Pascuzzi told me right when I got back, is like, everybody who does Survivor feels like a little weird for a while, is what her words were. And like, these people, they're fresh out. They just stepped into the weird. They just bought real estate in weird. So you doing whatever you're doing is not going to help us. I speak of them, but of it's not helpful. And you know what? It was what an episode. I saw my first season of Survivor in 2008. I watched Gabon, and everybody says every season, like this is once there's like a wacky episode or a wacky segment, like this is New Era Gabon, or this is like the second coming of Gabon. This I think is like good Gabon. Like Gabon's fun.
good bone.
I like it a lot, but it's not good. Like it's not. This was really good and really really funny. And like my media consumption is reality TV and scripted comedy, unscripted comedy. Like that's the two things I like. I don't know your Breaking Bads, your Game of Thrones, Prison Break. What's still on? I don't know what's still on.
Oh, the real big three scripted dramas.
Things. But this was so funny the whole time, and not for episodes 3 and 4, but it's so funny for 1, 2, and then 5 on, and really, really good, captivating Survivor. So I'm thrilled to talk about the finale.
Yeah, I think that I was sort of waiting for like the trademark wackiness of 46 to come in the finale, because I will say, like, you know, there was some stuff that a lot of us had predicted that Maria, of course, after being left flat-footed at the last vote, was going to be the odds-on person to go. But again, in true Survivor 46 fashion, I don't think we all thought it would happen as a result of collusion. But in my opinion, once we got to that final 4 fire-making round, I'm like, all right, there's that Survivor 46 I know and love. When Liz comes in, gets tree mail and says, my ligaments are too big for my wrists. Between Ben being able to like put forward one of the most impressive challenge feats I've seen given his own mental condition and coming through and winning this challenge, then his immediate I made a huge mistake expression as he realizes he has to put one of his 2 best friends in, to Liz and her claims and the jury's reaction. Like, this finale was truly giving Survivor 46 in that it brought the comedy, it brought the really heightened emotion, it brought the intensity, it brought this like play the game until your last breath, and it brought the surprise, Liana, at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm upset that you didn't mention my favorite wacky moment, which is when at the second immunity challenge, Liz comes out as Mima, and Jeff is like, I genuinely can't tell if this is a joke or not.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what is even happening right now? Like, that to me was also just pinnacle 46, because it's just so weird. And like, Jeff doesn't even know what's happening. It's iconic.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, because I think my read is that he, if you notice, welcomes everyone in, right? With this like John Hammond dollar store voice of like, welcome to your final immunity challenge. And then Liz is like, I'm going to one up this bit right now. And so I think Jeff is partially like, no, I had a thing going. But I agree, Liana, like he actually helpers to the camera for the first time since like 41 and 42, when he was doing it a lot of like, you see this shit? Like, I legitimately think I'm intrigued to see what happens in 47, because Brandon, I'm especially intrigued to see from you, considering like this obviously happened right after 46, 45. I think this season broke Jeff Probst. Like, he's bringing out food. He's joking with them. He's watching all this mayhem in front of him, and now they're doing bits on day 25.
You know, he is a funny guy. Like interfacing him with him like on Zoom calls or whatever through the casting process. He is very funny. He has like good comedic timing, I always found. So I'm thrilled there's bits. I don't know if prop comedy is the way that I would be like, if I had to pick a lane for him. Prop comedy is like fine. I hated the Twizzlers. I hated the cushion. I just think like he can do like the little voices are funny. Him like stepping out of his like, it's like when you see your like teacher at the mall. Like it's like it's doing like a different, like, oh, this is weird for you to be doing this, but I don't hate it. Like it's funny. I like more of that and less so like he shows up to, you know, people show up to tribal council and he has like a clown nose and he's like, oh, you know, one of you guys is going to be the clown. And then like, we're not building for Jeff material. Like we don't want that.
Jeff material.
But he's so fun. Like I co-sign whatever kind of bits, you know, and I think, I don't know if they knew during 46 that they had, I'm sure they did, like gold characters in the moment. Like I'm sure they saw Q, they saw Liz, they saw Ben, and they're like, these are really, you know, I wonder how much of 47 we're going to get like, oops, all characters, or if it's a healthy mix of the two, or if they tone down the characters because maybe they feel like the characters took away from the game. I mean, you're not going to find like the mistake of like, and I think Joe Mena is great, but the mistake of like casting a Joe Mena after you have Tony a couple different times, and then you have Joe Mena, and Joe Mena's fine. I liked him a lot, but he's not. He
literally called himself Bodega Tony. It's okay.
Like we're not going to get, you know, complete duplicates, but I wonder if there is going to be more of an emphasis. I would assume, yes, we're going to skew a little bit towards character heavy on 47.
Yes.
And maybe even more like people, I think Bitter Jurors coined like the the fall season is like the serious season, and the 48 is gonna be crazy. If this is any indication, we're gonna get some nuts on 47, then 48 is gonna be a madhouse. But I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting, especially because you have that longer delay time, right? Because you do the 2 seasons back to back, and then you have this like larger gap that can allow for some type of pendulum swing one way or the other, whether or not it's keeping going or it's starting to go back. I'm also just kind of obsessed with the idea of Jeff Probst as a prop comic, to go back to that. Like, I'm expecting him to come bring the watermelon. What a life you lead on this Survivor Island. Like, go full Gallagher. I would kind of be into that. I'm not going to lie. Just try it, right? Like, you've got 46 seasons now under your belt. Just try it. Go
well, I think what we could do is for 47, let's make our tribal council like just a funhouse set, like,
oh my God, that's
don't do any
with
sort of
veneers.
cultural aspects. Just make it like Pee-wee's Playhouse, where Jeff comes out now in his blue khakis and a bow tie, be like, "Hi, everybody."
Oh, that's gonna give me a night terror. I'm gonna have to call back. How do we handle that?
I woke up every 2 days in a cold sweat because I was thinking about Jeff Probst as Pee-wee Herman.
Oh my God, Marge can be there. I love, I'm a big fan of that movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I'm also imagining though, like the players. Can you, like, Brandon, imagine walking into that and being like, "What is even this?"
Oh,
This
walking.
is terrifying.
Somebody asked me recently, tribal council, like what I like after having watched it for so long, what is like tribal council feel like? And my words were like, it's very Rainforest Cafe, where it's like super immersive, and it's like a themed restaurant. And like a couple, like I know like the 44 had like the nights, and the 46 had more of a, so like our theme was just, all right, this stuff's, I guess, in the warehouse. Let's just throw it, wherever. It wasn't very cohesive, but it's so fucking cool. I mean, it's super cool. And we're not leaving Fiji. We're gonna run out of themes. Where is Funhouse? Is Funhouse season 71? Is it 61? Is it 83?
Yeah, or could it be sort of the tail wagging the dog of if it's like, all right, we want you all to act like clowns. Like, here's your circus.
Yeah.
This is going to incentivize to do it. Well, I feel like, we are putting a bit of the nose before the clown here and not talking about, obviously, this result. Of course, congratulations to Kenzie. And again, in true 46 fashion, I think a lot of people were coming in for various reasons thinking it's Kenzie or it's Charlie. So I think if on paper you told someone ahead of time, hey, by the way, this is going to end with a 5-3 vote, Kenzie beats Charlie, people would say, okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense from an editorial perspective. Where maybe the plot gets a bit lost is obviously Maria being the center, but really so many votes. Just absolutely baffling. The idea that Kenzie gets in an explicit argument with Q at that final tribal council, I thought, okay, maybe this will be like a 6-2 vote. Q's absolutely voting for Charlie. This is Bruce all over again, right? Where like D makes fun of Bruce going home with his idol, and Bruce is like, I'm done. I'm voting for whoever else is not named D on there. I thought Q was absolutely not gonna vote for Kenzie. And then it gives her its vote for one answer at the very end. Liana, is this not Q personified?
Yeah, classic Q. Like but it was also not just Q, but when Tiffany also was involved, and it was like that little trio all sort of like bantering back and forth. I was like, never change, Yanu, never change. It was truly a thing of beauty. But I mean, look, credit to Q for being able to still be like, look, even though we're debating about what this move exactly happened, I can still see everything else that happened, and I'm willing to give you my vote at the end of the day. Liz was the other one who confused me, because I thought Liz was definitely going to vote for Kenzie, but I think she voted for Charlie, right?
She did, because apparently, well, according to what she told me, she actually was going to go into tribal council voting for Ben. But she said that because she felt that Ben was the only one to like really call out, again, from her uniform opinion, you're the one that said I was the biggest threat to win. Game respects game. She said why she voted for Charlie is when Charlie actually started to like explain sort of like what brought Hunter over to the Charlie side as well, which is like once he sort of explained, okay, I wasn't just in the shadow of Maria. There was intentionality at 7. I was setting up these 4 with Maria and Q as my goats, as my shields. That's what's kind of endeared her over to that side. But yeah, I mean, Liz also continues to be an absolute wild card in terms of everything she does, and I adore it so much.
The best. I was on the Liz Wilcox train from episode 1, 2, and I'm so thrilled. It's a great crescendo of a story of like we help Kenzie in the final 5 challenge, which I want to talk about because it's crazy. I love it. And then the final, losing in fire, proclaiming I would have won against all of you, and then just to a jury pan of 7 people who were like, well, I don't know. We'd have to check the tape on that. I'm obsessed with it. I want it for every season. I think that, what a standout casting choice that Liz is. I think that, you never know with some people, you don't know Q's going to be this big. You don't know that Liz is going to be this big, that they transcend, just the position that they would normally have on a season of Survivor, but they just knocked it out of the park with Liz. And hey, 50. I'm just saying. I'm not going. That sounded like I was trying to pregame. I'm not going. Liz, I hope you do well on 50. I think it'll be great for you.
With me.
With me.
If that, were to happen.
I'll add you to the group.
Yeah. Yeah, Liz is so interesting. And I mean, she's obviously been such a fascinating character throughout the course of the season and continues to give in the finale as well with with thinking that she's going to win, the whole Meemaw thing, like all of that, the going back and helping with the plank, which I think we absolutely have to talk about because there's been so much discourse about whether or not is this legal, right? Like, is this legal in the course of Survivor? I love the fact that she also, this is such a side note, but she ran through her own channel to get there. So in my opinion, it's legal because she ran through her own obstacles. She didn't run through Kenzie's obstacles. She ran through her own. So for some reason, I feel like that's legal. But then it brings up into question, can you go grab someone else's plank and go drag it into the jungle? Like, can you go hide it? Like go hide Maria's plank somewhere and then take Kenzie's back?
That would be the implication, right? That these are different hold planks. I think if that was the case, that they'd be like, everybody stop. No, don't do that anymore. So yeah, I think they tried to sort of dot their I's by making sure that they brought back Kenzie's plank specifically in case it was a different number. But yeah, I mean, it's wild. It's not something that we haven't not seen in Survivor Pass. I mean, obviously, Albert Drop Your Stack is the clearest example that I think people are using to be like, Jeff, you didn't allow this to happen here, and now you're allowing this to happen here. I think, honestly, I don't really think it's coming from a place of malice or 40 chess of well, I wanted to save Ozzy this time, but this time, Maria, I'm throwing you to the wolves. I think it was honestly just a matter of well, this is making interesting TV. Okay, let's let it play out. And Liz has apparently said that after it, Probst basically said yeah, we're not doing that anymore. So Collusion, I think, is now being tampered down upon. But listen, I'm all for Liz going full Airbud here and being there's nothing not in the rules about me running back to get someone else's prop to help them win the challenge.
See?
Yeah, I mean, I love for a show that is accused sometimes of being samey. I love stuff like that. I don't want it every time. I read somewhere that if you're in a Final Five situation and there's a clear Mike Holloway underdog, I don't want to see 4 people gang up on that person and then they leave that. I mean, that's not fun TV. But Ben in Heroes, Healers, Hustlers gets an idol validated for him before the votes are read because he asked, right? And it's if you ask and there's no rule, I co-sign it for once. I co-sign it for one time. It was memorable. It was fun. I love that it was Liz who did it. If you would have told me before the episode somebody does this, Liz would have been my 5th guess. It wouldn't have tracked for me. But I love it. I absolutely love it. And I agree that maybe going forward, we cut it. But for this time, hell yeah.
Well, we even have more of a recent precedent. I think people might not remember the Edge of Extinction finale, obviously. One of the things that, maybe not even on the top 5 things that Chris Underwood does in that episode is that I believe he helps Julie win the immunity challenge at 6 to get out Victoria, where he's coaching her through how to do the puzzles. So again, I think it really is just sort of a call in the field. I also agree that I love that it is Liz. I think it's hinting towards a relationship that we really didn't get to see. I also love in general both of these challenges and the advent in the first one of okay, your puzzle's done. And everyone's okay, great. That means we're done with the challenge. Nope. You gotta. And not only is it that, it's also a core function of winning this challenge would require on paper you having to go back through the first part of the challenge. We only really see people backtrack when they've really fucked something up. So I love that now it's a requirement. At least again, if you don't have someone alongside you to do it for you.
Yeah. I'm really happy that you mentioned that because I think that part gets overshadowed so much because of the whole Liz thing. So the fact that the way that they did it is you finish the puzzle, which okay, it's the end of the game. You're exhausted. You're mentally exhausted. You think you won. And you have Jeff like chirping in your ear about like, okay, what's on the puzzle is going to give you the final clue. But you're probably, I mean, like I'm sure you tune that out because you're just like, I have to focus on the puzzle that I'm solving. So then you get there and you're just like, what? I love the pure confusion that happened, especially because, a lot of these challenges do feel like samey. It's like, okay, oh, well, we've seen the throw the ball and pull the thing down before. We've seen this before. So to have something new also is very exciting for the final immunity.
Yeah. And the final immunity is so cool. It's so cool.
Awesome.
And we're going to see it now so many more times. They got a hit and we're going to see it 48, 49. Like, I really, I dug the whole, it's like skee ball. I love skee ball.
Yeah, so that was, so I talked about this on Club Condo, but now I can like officially reveal it. So when I went on to set, I saw the very preliminary version of it. They didn't have like all the discarded woodshop projects nailed to it. None of the blocks were on there. But I saw it and I'm like, holy shit. Like, if we do a new final immunity challenge, like, it doesn't even matter what the rest of the season's like. Like, a certain subset of fans are going to be very happy. And yeah, I love this as well. I love the fact that, again, Ben is in by far the worst mental state out of maybe a lot of Survivor Endgame contestants, but he's the only one to like not mess up whatsoever, where Charlie drops a couple times, Liz drops a couple times. Kenzie yeets her ball off like she's Steven Fishback trying to hit Charlie's target, which could have been really interesting. And Ben, of all people, I think outdoes Romeo in this moment as like one of the most out of nowhere final immunity winners we've seen in the show's history.
Yeah.
I was prepared to make my 42 comparisons. I was like, this is why we're seeing the Ben and Kenzie stuff, because Ben wins the final immunity and he takes Kenzie because he's showing the relationship. I was like, Kenzie's Marianne, because I'd already made the comparison when we talked about the final 6 vote with Q being Omar. And Lindsay being Maria. And I was like, oh my God, it's all lining up. And then it didn't. So I deleted those.
I mean, Liz and Jonathan, like, they're pretty much the same person.
Yeah, well, that was like, I was going through everyone and he was like, so Jonathan is Liz? And I was like, obviously,
Yeah, Jonathan infamously ate like 4 dozen eggs a day and Liz gets drunk when she eats eggs. So.
Yes, exactly. The same.
Yeah, very, very cool. I don't want to jump around, but just because you said
please.
Q in the final, the jury deliberation, it was just, I just watched it for the first time because we were at a, event, you couldn't hear it super well. Q's so funny. Is Q the funniest person that's been on Survivor in a long time? I think probably, right?
I think what you were saying about Jeff Probst is actually very comparable to Q, where I think he has a very certain way of saying things, but he is so quick with his retorts. Like, yes, if you pull the Q string, you do get cancel Christmas, you do get big mistake, but then you get like little witty things that get thrown in. Like when he's talking about, can Hunter win all these challenges? Debatable. Like all these other little random Q moments that get thrown in. And including this as well, where he is just saying like, listen, I know it's y'all's time out there, but like, can I just speak up about something? Can I clear something up right now? I mean, like, I know people were saying, oh my God, why is the jury hijacking the final tribal councils for the finalists? I'm like, have you seen the jury? Have you seen this season? Is this not what you expected from these people to be like, I will be the human egg timer. You have 30 seconds to describe to me every facet of your game and why I should give you $1 million. Go.
Yeah. I cracked up at Soda, who was like, I have been on the jury the longest. I've been watching the whole time. I'm like, yeah, it's the jury, right? And, I thought that was very funny. I thought, Q, when I think Charlie is talking about the 6, Q was like, I don't know if we got to be bragging about being in the 6. Like the 6 is here. We're all right here. I think it was so funny. And I have like I thought this weeks ago, but this is the first time I've verbalized it, is I think the best seasons of Survivor on all like our universal lists are the seasons with the funniest people, or at least funny people. And I think there's one glaring no, and it's heroes versus villains. I don't think that the end game, at least, I think you lose the funny people early in heroes versus villains. I think the end game is very dry. But like a Cagayan, a David versus Goliath, a Korong, like everybody.
Pearl Islands,
everybody's funny. Like I think that you need funny people, and it's not like you don't need comedians. You just need people like Q, like a Tony, like like an Aubrey, who are just naturally funny to propel, I think, the story forward. I think it like melds 2 genres really nicely, and I think that's like the seasons that they put on Netflix are the ones they know can pull people. And all of those, heroes versus villains aside, I think have like really, really funny people at the end. And Sandra's very funny. I think that like it's a certain level of like, you have a lot of people. I think Sandra's really heavy lifting at the end game for funny people. Rupert's not doing bits.
I think unintentionally he is.
Unintentionally.
Yeah. Well, I think that, so that's the thing too, is I think that even unintentionally funny people also, I think as long as you have somebody who is funny, who can play off of the unintentionally funny people, then I think that even adds more dimensions to it. So I think that's definitely possible. But I think to go back to the like jury mouthing off sort of conundrum, that's been going on since the very, very, very beginning of Survivor. Like, when did we get that montage? Why do I have a montage of jury questions in my head? Did that happen in this episode?
No. So we got a montage of iconic Survivor catchphrases to relate it to Seven Means Several, and that showcase maybe what you're indicating, which is like Sue Hawk.
Yes, exactly. That was the exact thing that I was going to reference. Is obviously you have the very famous snake and rat speech from the very first jury questioning. Like, that's something that has existed from the very beginning of Survivor, with the jury being able to sort of mouth off to the people who are in the final 2 or final 3. So that is just absolutely consistent. Now, I think where it kind of goes off the rails maybe a little bit is when you sort of lose the thread of what we're doing. Why are we here? What are we doing moving forward? But I didn't get that energy from this final tribal council. Like, I still felt like we were able to get a lot of information, and even the back and forth, like the debating with the Kenzie, Tiffany, Q thing, that I still was still valuable to understand what was happening. So I really enjoyed it.
And I also think that sometimes, not always, but jury votes can sort of serve as like the culmination of the season. And that felt very on brand, right? It felt very thematic that despite the fact that they were sitting on separate sides of tribal council, that the three of them were still arguing with each other at the end of the day. I will say maybe the one exception to what you were saying, Liana, is, Tiffany coming right out from the beginning and being like, I don't want to hear any Taylor Swift lyrics or pop culture or metal references. Like, is Ben just singing in his head, what was I made for? Like, that is what this man is. That's his essence at his core. How could he talk about his game? He has come out in Exit Press talking about how the jury was obviously writing him off. They were laughing at him in certain points. He was being ignored in the questioning. And maybe it's because he was disqualified from the beginning because he couldn't do his thing. That's Ben's thing.
I think a really like beautiful character moment that if I were to go back and rewatch, I would note is that he ends his last thing with a rock reference. Like, and then Tiffany says, like, I'll allow that one. And I think he probably, I've read also his, Exit Press, I listened to your Exit Press, that he was being written off. And I feel like he maybe knew he wasn't going to win. And he just, like, why not? Let's throw one in. And I think that's like,
if I'm going to jail, I might as well break as many laws as I can.
Let's go out. His last words spoken in Survivor 46 pre-reunion show are a rock reference. And I think that is
Yeah. Speaking of beauty, there is such beauty in the game of soccer and in defeat as well. Like, I know people have done this, myself included, but I really need to give major ups to Charlie. And look, I don't necessarily want to say that like everyone needs to be so gracious in losing out at $1 million, because again, these are humans at the end of the day. And certainly there has been discourse about like, are people too buddy when they get voted off, which Survivor 46 has certainly proven to be the exception to that rule. But like, God, I can only imagine what was going through Charlie's head during that as pregnant as Kenzie Petty pause when Jeff asked, what are your thoughts in this moment? And I give him kudos. I give someone like Mike kudos as well. Maybe even more so Mike, because like Mike came into Final Tribal Council winning and then lost the game over the course of those few hours. To have Charlie be able to vocalize in that moment simultaneously, like his obvious disappointment and shock and dismay that this was slipping through his fingers, while also simultaneously using this as a reason to be like, okay, but I also predict that on the internet, less than a year from now, people are really going to start like raking Kenzie through the coals about this. So like, let me just say the jury got it right. Please celebrate her. I mean, it's a message that certainly still needs to be communicated through various messages over the past week. But like, God, again, I give him nobody again needs to necessarily go this route each and every time. But I think it was such a gracious way to handle, considering the fact that he lost out by one jury vote because Ben has confirmed multiple sources that he would have voted for Charlie. And it arguably came at the hands of the one person he thought he was banking on at the end of the day.
Yeah. Is this again, I should know this as super fan. Is there any other instance of something like this that has happened before? Or is this a Survivor first in terms of the number one ally is like the kind of clinch vote that you lose. I
I mean, you could argue like technically Sue and Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Like she technically was the fourth vote for Richard, even though Kelly got some pity votes due to Sue's actions.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, and again, I think Charlie maybe had tweeted it. I know I saw Owen resurface it, but like the after show, we are at a point now where we can not do the after show. We can do it in LA. We can still read the winner there and then have a live thing happen, satellite from New York or LA, over here. It just doesn't. I don't want to watch anybody process that in the real time. I don't think it's compelling. I don't think it's fun. I think and for a show that is built on fun and compelling, Jeff wants, families to watch this. I just don't see Charlie looking there destroyed, Owen looking there destroyed, like Carolyn looking destroyed. Like it's not fun. It's not fun for anybody, or just don't do it at all. Like if the compromise is we're never going to do it back in the States, or we'll do it there, then just cut it. Then just cut, to hear everybody talk about like we're going to do that on the internet. Like if you want to find that conversation, you can go find it. It just doesn't seem like it doesn't seem nice. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth every time. And Charlie, again, Mike, as you said, Charlie obviously he's destroyed. He looks destroyed because he is destroyed. And it's not fun. It's not fun at all. So, Jake was destroyed. Like it's not I don't like it. And I didn't really like, we're not seeing anything of compelling note in the after show.
That's the other thing as well. I think I've seen pointed out in the discourse as well is that one thing that production actually loses out on is because they don't know what is exactly going to be the most popular stuff. There's not exactly like the hot topics that can only go off of are things like a lot of people went out with idols. As the finale was ticking along, I was like, it's 10:20 and we're reading the votes right now. This is going to be a surprisingly short after show. And to be honest, I feel like this cast didn't necessarily deserve an after show that was like only 20 minutes long. Right.
Especially a group that I could say this about a lot of the new era groups, but I want to hear from Jelinski. I want to hear from Jess, Bonnie. Brandon. I don't know if Brandon's okay. I think that, again, obviously that's not a call they can make there when they're doing it. But I think for future reference, we're not in a state of the world right now where we can't do it here. Like we can't get everybody through Zoom. It just, the whole thing just seems like I understand the utility for 41 and 42, even for 43 and 44. I hope we go back to a place where we can do something that is just a little bit nicer, where Charlie can or just do it the next day. Do it in an hour, like the immediate bringing the background and bringing out the dominoes. It's just it's not. I don't like it. That's my diatribe for right now.
Well, but I think that that's a really popular opinion.
Yeah.
So I would hope that because so many people share that opinion, something would be done about it. You never know. But I do think that I'm happy to continue to pound that drum, that I also absolutely agree with what both of you are saying, for both just the not knowing what the hot moments are and just watching the two losers. Sorry to use that word.
I thought you were going to say Yanu.
Place finisher. Yeah, all the losers.
Speaking of, again, Jeff Probst comic moments. Spicy Jeff, holy moly.
Always. But it just breaks my heart, and it is uncomfortable, and it's uncomfortable not in a fun way. It's just uncomfortable. I really, really strongly dislike the after show, and shout out to anyone who's had to sit in that position and have to just take it, not knowing, not being able to process everything that happened, and to be able to actually sit there and speak. I would probably just walk off set. I would not even be there. Yeah. So I agree. Scrap it, throw it away, throw it in the garbage, recycle, reuse, Rikiki.
Can I make it a little bit better?
No.
Because, okay, well, 1-1, I break the tie. Yes. I think that we need to steer more into doing referential material. RuPaul's Drag Race, which is near and dear to my heart, loves to do it. Could we do? Because this is something that I noticed a couple times this season. What if, the feast afterwards is, all right, we're going to bring in pizza, bring in soda, and then every single season soda comes out from season 46 and just is there. She is the pork chop of this, just kind of standing there. She could sing a song about the season, and they make the joke every single season. And whether they know soda or not, they don't understand the bit. They're saying, who is this other person? Is this a twist? Did they actually win? It would be near and dear to my heart if they tried stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that the first time it's funny, and the second time it's a little bit funnier, and the third time it's hysterical. The third time I'm losing my mind how funny that is. Any kind of modification at this point, maybe that would help. Maybe her singing a song about each person would help. I know she said that, I think, on something that I read, is when anybody would come in from Ponderosa, she had wrote their own song of when they came in. Yeah. To
See,
and
that'd be great. Like Jeff hates rites of passage. It would work if Soda sung it.
yeah.
See?
That's a very funny. I want to extrapolate on that. Like I'm picturing the season 45, like a 2-sentence little song about each person as we're going through like a little montage. That's very funny. I have to get some writers in on that because that's really good.
Yeah, Soda's an ASCAP, I believe now, from the fact that they made that song and it became professionally licensed. So listen, well, you know who we can't bring in to write the songs though. Sia wouldn't want to be a 46 cast because no money for you.
Yeah.
Okay, do we know any? So obviously it was like an official announcement, right? That like Sia is not, no, we appreciate Sia, blah blah blah, for all the whatever. So who nixed it? Like, I really, really, really need to know. Was Sia like, oh, I stopped watching, I don't watch Survivor anymore, or was the production like, no more, we don't like this, you're competing with us, or something like that?
I think she stopped watching. I think she pulled out. I think she got a couple episodes in, wasn't feeling, which I'm not saying this is right, rightfully so. The season gets really, really, really good. I think she stopped watching, and then they scrambled, didn't know what to do. She can't remember anybody. She only watched up to week 3 or 4. She's like, oh, give it to I don't know, Adam. And you're like, well, Adam's not here. There's no Adam. I think that's the situation they ran into. And Jeff said, all right, let's press statement and let's kill it. What is, I don't know what the utility is for Jeff to pull the plug if there's not another thing.
Yeah.
Like,
because it's not like counter programming. It's not like, oh, all right, well, this is something that the players are clearly playing for, and therefore they're not playing the game. I know everyone was accusing Banu of doing that, but like, I truly do not think someone would do that. So I think that it was from Sia. I'm not a financier, but is there also not a chance that she's looking at her bank statements and she's like, I don't know if I could keep giving out like $150,000 twice a year, every year from now on?
Yeah, it was like $1 million she had given out or something like that, right? That's wild.
But she also, I feel like, and forgive me if I'm misspeaking here, but there have been seasons where she has not given 100K and just divvied up a couple 15s.
Yeah.
Or, I know from Jake, Caleb, and Katura, like they had a party at Sia's house. Like she can still invite them to the party. Like there doesn't need to be like, we can just have the Sia like participation trophy award where you just, hey, come, hang out at my house with, I don't know who is it.
That sounds weirder to me of like, all right, you get given money by Sia or you get invited to a Gatsby-like shindig at her mansion in LA for one night only.
I think Terry Hatcher's there. I think there was like, it was a real who's who of Hollywood. I think that's awesome, but I would bet that she just didn't. I think she just didn't take to it, which is interesting that like, I know she obviously watched Island of the Idols, which is like in the seasons where she's been giving out the money, that would be the logical, like, I'm going to stop watching this. But I think maybe she felt so compelled by the story that she wanted to reward the people who were the heroes of that story. But now I think she just didn't watch it.
Or could it be something where Sia says, how dare these little assholes mention Metallica, mention Taylor Swift? You know what? That can be their sugar daddies. They can pay out. I'm out. Why wasn't there a Sia song battle?
Should we right now, the three of us, see how many Sia songs we can name? Is that anything?
Okay.
We'll just go in a circle.
Okay.
Okay. Elastic Heart.
Okay. I'll go Chandelier.
What's the Alive?
This might end pretty quickly. What's the one? Cheap Thrills.
Yeah,
that's one, right?
I'm gonna say Titanium. Did she do Titanium?
Oh, is that her?
I think it was her and David Guetta.
Okay, or she was like featured on it. I don't remember.
I have Unstoppable, and then I Am Now Stoppable because those are the ones that I know. The ones that mention, I do not know another one.
Yeah, I'm out. I
well,
we're part of the problem, y'all.
Can't get to 108.
We're part of the problem. You know what?
I did try to go through Sia's tweets, like her likes and her tweets, to see if there's any mention of Survivor in like the past 5 or 6 months. I don't see anything. I don't know if she was frequently
still on Twitter. That sounds like an incredibly bad decision on her part.
Yeah,
look,
she's had some questionable. I mean, she has a lot of questionable things, but listen, I wasn't invited to the party. It's funny. When we were on the island, we talked about the Sia money. And the conversation I remember vividly was like, you can't ever mention it like in a place where they can't edit around it, because then the meta is gone. Like then it can't happen, you know. I
Right.
remember us having that conversation. And I don't think I want to co-sign. I don't think it was Banu. I don't think Banu caused this. I do think that maybe during those episodes, it just didn't seem like the season maybe would take off in the trajectory that it did. It would still be good.
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't seem like it would be great. And I think that Sia, you know, maybe we need, you know, the Tyler Perry money, the Rob Schneider
So
money.
that was my, well, okay, maybe,
I forgot he's bad. I was
maybe
thinking,
not that
Tyler
one.
Perry, much better, but that's the other question is like, who will be our savior? We need a hero in this moment. Who is going to be our celebrity benefactor to step in and start giving out money to these contestants? Because that's the other thing, is that, you know, we want people doing wackadoo things in preparation for season 50 and getting cast, but maybe a little bit of something on the side will help as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, is that person now Q? I know Q wants to give his cameo money to another cast member. I think that's awesome. I love it, you know. And I hope Jelinski's a couple $1,000 richer at the end of the next couple weeks.
I do love that, because the Sia money, I think something else that didn't help was like we were all predicting like, okay, it's someone who loves, like, who has a nice story. It's someone who's probably an underdog. Q, there is no syllabus. Like, remember, this is the man who said it was a big mistake to be both bad at hide and seek and good at hide and seek. There is absolutely no criteria you could think of as to what this man is going to do to give away money to other people.
No.
That's what makes it fun.
That's what makes it fun. Yeah, I mean, he might be the benefactor. He may be the money deliverer. I'm waiting. I expected when I saw that announcement that something else was coming. Like if they had an official vote or something. You know, right now is like in the time that I've been a fan of Survivor, we're trying more stuff out right now than we ever have. You know, so I figured maybe there's a fan vote for 50 grand or something. You know, bringing back something that they did in the past. You know, from Sprint or something. Is Sprint? Are we still doing Sprint?
I was about to ask, like, is Sprint? Has Sprint stopped walking in a minute?
Sprint. Maybe they merged with somebody. I have not seen a Sprint.
I think they got bought out, right?
As a result of the merger with T-Mobile, Sprint's and CDMA network was completely shut down on May 31st, 2022.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Listen, Google is in the shit lately, but if I do appreciate that if I just type in "is Sprint dead" into a search bar, that it produced accurate results.
Yeah, we hardly knew you, Sprint. I'm so sorry, but yeah, now there's just no. I guess there's no. The meta is gone. You know, I hope 47. They don't know 47. They're out there saving animals. They're out there. You know, they're out there talking about the chandelier, but they're not. They're not getting the coin.
Maybe we get like UFOS money. Like UFOS has been the one that's been doing like the post first act commercials, right?
Yeah.
Very consumer cellular, very in the same style as those commercials.
But like
UFOS can throw.
But is that going to require more feet stuff? Like, are you going for UFOS money if you're like, get a look at these gams?
UFOS is a shoe company.
Yes, they make the shoes, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can do that on your own, Ty. I mean, listen, there's a market. The Survivor fans are, you know, we've seen them. You know, they're out there.
Which, by the way, I put this out on Club Condo, but I do believe Liz went out of the game without shoes on as well, Austin style. So like
Austin style, yeah.
She just, I don't know if she lost her shoes or she just refuses to wear them, but seemingly every major Survivor occasion she has gone shoeless.
Yeah, victims aren't we all? You know, I've always said that. I live by that. Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. I'd love to see Liz on Big Brother. Now the more that I think about it.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
When they had renewed Celebrity Big Brother for the third time, I had thought that like Celebrity Big Brother, the format lends itself very well to having the same kind of season of The Amazing Race where they had everybody from the 3 shows. Do a Celebrity Big Brother and throw a couple people from every show in there and just see what happens. You know, I would much prefer that to celebrities. I mean, the celebrity, like that, we've really exhausted the celebrity, you know, the file folder for who we can get. And Liz is my first nomination if we do that. I want more Liz. And then you know what, Liz? There's food that you can eat, and they have a shopping list. Hopefully in day-to-day food. There could be no Applebee's, but it's out there.
Oh, imagine Liz on slop. Can she even eat slop?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she can. So like, are they gonna? But then like, there's gonna be a Q type on the show that will like make her a have-not for the entire season.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like that's just like think about that happened this season.
Yeah.
That like this has to be probably the memeiest season of Survivor that I've ever seen. in my life. Like, so much stuff has caught on like wildfire between A Million Hearts, between Big Mistake, Cancel Christmas, I'm Pissed, just the idol after idol stuff. And the fact that I do believe, listen, I'm not a TikTok person, but I do believe they segmented out Liz's Applebee's meltdown and it went viral. Like, it is just an absolutely objectively ridiculous thing that happened on our television screen this spring.
Well, what's interesting, you bring up TikTok, is I've seen now more viral TikToks of Survivor 46 than I've seen of any other current season. Like, every once in a while, Kelly, the Wentworth does not count, will go viral. I've seen Caleb's thing go viral. The dead grandma goes viral, but like multiple things. Yeah, the hide and seek was viral. The everybody standing on the dog houses had 2 million likes.
Oh, the alphabet game is like an absolute scripted comedy scene.
Yeah. And then just recently Charlie posted a TikTok about losing. He was in the shower. He was wet. People. I mean, that had 400,000, 300,000 likes. Who knows if that's a combination? A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Survivor has taken on a new thing that I have not seen in the time that, especially like the new era thing, the time that I've been around. It seems like this has a whole new audience that it's caught. And there are people every day finding the show that they found it through COVID. And now they're watching the current ones. Everybody who watched through COVID watched 1 to 40. Now we're catching up to these that are, people are watching primetime TV. I saw the reality TV fan tweet that like Survivor's like the biggest show, something. You'll be able to.
Yeah. So they were number 1 in, I believe, a couple of key demos, like 18 to 49, like 31 to 49, etc. For the first time, Survivor has been the number 1 show since the Australian Outback. So look, maybe it speaks to the state of broadcast TV nowadays. Maybe it speaks to the state of Survivor, or maybe it speaks to both. But still, like, for the first time in 20 plus years, it was number 1 in those key demos.
Crazy. How cool is that? It's so cool.
It's all thanks to you and Delta.
Listen, American Idol's about to get canceled for the second time. They've lived through 2 American Idols for one, continuous Survivor streak. So it's just, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I said it on the island. I said it before, after. It's the best show on TV. It's been the best show on TV. I can't believe that it's, and I'm so glad that people like it. And I'm so glad everybody loves it because it's so good. It's just, it's so good. And it only gets better. And now we have a whole new season. People who are out there right now hanging out, who are, I'm so excited to see a lot of those people.
Yeah, well, on that note, I actually do want to ask about sort of the legacy of 46 and Kenzie in particular, because 47, again, obviously doesn't know how it ends, but 48 will have. And I'm intrigued, Liana, because there certainly has been a lot of back and forth after this finale outcome about like, what is Kenzie's win-min for the season? How strong is her game, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think there is anything to take away through like what she was able to do, or maybe even what like this final 4 was able to do in the realm of all the big threats kept taking each other out? And as Jeff kept saying, who would have predicted that these 5 would be the last one standing?
Right. Think about, okay, what's like the major narrative that you would walk away from the season? And I do feel it's turning on your number 1 ally seems to be like the number 1 narrative. However, that doesn't necessarily have anything to do per se with like our final 5. Like, I really didn't feel that. I felt that earlier in the merge. I didn't really feel it in the final 5. So when you talk about like Kenzie's win, I don't think people are going to be like, oh, remember that time she was going to turn on Tiffany and then didn't turn on Tiffany and then Tiffany went home. Like that doesn't seem to be part of the discussion. I think then, is it more about her social game? Is it more about the jury's reaction to Charlie? Like, I actually don't even know what the major takeaway is from the finale, that if you're thinking like, oh, okay, I have to make sure I don't do this on the island when I go to play.
Yeah, it's interesting. I thought that the narrative coming out of 45 was like the Reba 4, the lock your people in and run with them. And now the people who are on 47 right now saw, quite a bit of 46 where you're turning on your allies. So I think people are going in with 2 competing ideas that we don't know, what is going to overtake the other. But I do think like a Kenzie is a great example of like, you don't have to be the move maker. Just be around the move makers. Like be around them and make them like you. And then they're going to gun for each other. Egos go for egos, and then if you're there and you're the shoulder to cry on when the egos are upset that they lost their person, or the egos are like on a high because they got out the person they wanted, you're cooking. You're absolutely cooking. And I wonder if the meta of 47 is going to be, let's lock in the group and, no hold, what's the saying? No holds barred.
Yeah.
Let's go for it when we have to go for it. But we know this works. If we can all just not go for each other, then we're chilling for a little bit.
I completely
like-
agree that like I think it's tough to like put Kenzie up like between D and Jam Jam, who I think were both two unique winners and like the powers they were able to influence. But I feel like if you look at Kenzie's game, it's not too dissimilar from like some other new era winners that we have got, right? Which is just this idea of like, don't stick yourself out too far in front. Have a couple of things you may want to claim, but then also at the end of the day, like make the jury like you. And I thought Kenzie actually did, from our perspective, a really good job in that finale of like, she didn't overextend herself, right? She admitted Soda's point of like, yeah, sometimes I didn't necessarily make the moves, but then she'll own up to other things like, after I was betrayed by Q, I then brought him in to make sure he trusted me so I could get rid of him. So it does feel like maybe a bit of a deviation back to that median that we got with maybe those first three new era winners as to like, what's a good prototypical method to at least make your way to the end of the game.
I think though, okay, this is maybe because I'm tainted because of the online discourse, but I almost feel like the takeaway from everybody who's talking about it is like Charlie was robbed. Charlie was robbed. So then do you really walk away with thinking like, oh, social game is the way to go? Even like I don't know, it's complicated because I feel like, okay, so Kenzie won and obviously executed this, even Charlie's giving her flowers, look, she deserved to win, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But if you're participating in the online discourse, I almost feel like you have the opposite takeaway, where instead of like taking away with like, oh, this is the blueprint to win. I almost feel like the blueprint to win is Charlie, but just do it slightly better.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the managing the social game, because it's like, well, this is the person who should have won or whatever. So I don't know. That's why I think I'm more confused about like, this is the clear takeaway if I'm going to go play Survivor, because I think that there's sort of these battling narratives of two different play styles in the finals with two people who very easily could have walked away with a win.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I like the idea, like, so, like strategy, heavy strategy, like could win, and some would say should win, but like social wins, like social will win, and social will win. You know, if you're stacked up against the right people, social will, I think, always have an edge over somebody who plays beautifully strategically. Because I think, you know, strategic lends itself to people being more mad at you. Like social, you know, you have, you know, somebody like Kenzie who like, you know, are in queue, whatever, but like, people, you know, they tussled, but otherwise, like you're riding clean to the end. And I think Charlie's exactly right. You know, despite being super upset when he says it, it's like, you know, the winner's supposed to win. You know, Michelle's supposed to win, Kenzie's supposed to win. You know, and I think that, you know, on a second round, I don't know how you modify the super strategic game, or on a first round for 47. You know, how you make that a little bit less, you know, a little bit more social heavy. I really like, Mike, what you said about, you know, Kenzie's answer to Soda, which is Soda gives the question of like, prove me right or tell me why I'm wrong. I think the impulse is to prove them right. And I mean, I'm sorry, to prove why you're wrong, to get a step above, like, this is why you're wrong about me. And then, you know, Kenzie's like, no, you're right. That's exactly what I did. And I really like that answer, because it feels like almost like you're playing with less stakes, and it's more confident that you don't feel like you're having to prove anything. It's you're just, you know, you're saying what's true, and that endears, you know, making Soda feel like she's right is, I think, getting Soda's vote more so than, you know, or a way to get Soda's vote, rather.
Right, and it's not a hard and fast rule where, you know, sometimes you shouldn't overextend yourself. We saw that with kind of the adverse reaction to Cassidy, but at the same time, sometimes you don't want to necessarily undersell the stuff that you were doing either. So it really depends on the person you're talking to, and I do think that where Kenzie was able to benefit in that, it seems that she did have these like one-on-one connections with everybody, where I would imagine, at least on paper, she may have understood like where everyone's inclinations lie, where it's like, okay, this would be the type of answer that you would want to hear, which again, doesn't necessarily work for everybody. They want some authenticity there, and that's what's kind of won at the end of the day. I mean, we're asking what the takeaway is, though, but obviously, for me, the main takeaway that people are going to bring is play your fucking idols. No? Like, this is the first time, I think, in Survivor history where nobody in the final five ever touched a hidden immunity idol, which is pretty damn wild.
Yeah. I mean, there's no, like, I don't know when the 47 folks left, but they saw multiple idols in the pocket. You know, you gotta go, you know, even if it's just another round, like burn it, you know, would do what Tiffany wanted to do and just, you know, say you got it and burn it, you know. I think that's, or, you know, innovate a new way to play with it. I mean, that's like, we saw the innovation that we saw now is just not playing it, which I guess gets you to leave. But like, if you know, throw something else out there, you know, I think that there's going to be room for more, you know, innovation. And I wouldn't be surprised if we now see like, you know, a rules or something, like something will be modified to the idol that will make you have to play. I'm sure there'll be something. You know?
The idol is hot. You have to play it now or it'll burn your hand.
3 rounds. There's something. I can see that. But who knows?
Oh, then that's a good point. Yeah, they could bring back sort of like what they did initially with the Austin and Sabaya idols of like make them timed for a certain round. So it's like, okay, I guess I better play this thing. I mean, I've said this before, Liana. I would imagine we might get like close to a record number of idol plays next season, just as an adverse reaction of like, oh, well, not going to be a 46 here.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I'd rather play it wrong, like incorrectly, than go out with it in my pocket. It could be a knee-jerk reaction to that. And especially because that's something that had, like, we've gotten through that before they went out to film. So I definitely can see that.
For sure.
All right, well, let's give our own knee-jerk reactions to this cast as we've got a little bit more business to tend to here on the B&B. We've got 5 more contestants that Liana and I put preseason predictions on. Now, as Jeff said, perhaps for many, this was an unpredictable final 5, given all of the preseason expectations leading up to it. But let's see how much that was truly tested. We'll start with Maria. Liana, would you want to go first, or do you want me to? Because we got a whole haul to go through here.
Yeah, sure. I can go first. So I had Maria in the finale. I said that Maria was a cutthroat strategic player. She turned on her allies when they became too powerful and ping-ponged between groups of people, picking up allies left and right. While this made for an impressive resume at Final 3, her style of gameplay also rubbed some people the wrong way who felt particularly burnt by her ruthless moves. She may have beaten Kenzie in Final 4 fire making. Come on, Survivorless School. But it wasn't enough to get the win. She did get 1 jury vote from Charlie. Her ally was Charlie, and her enemies were Jem and Hunter.
Wow.
Interesting.
So I had her in Final 3, essentially.
Same.
Oh,
so I said Maria's, maybe not so, actually losing in this case. Maria's variety of life experiences. Oh, they said winning. But losing. Maria's variety of life experiences makes her one of the hubs of Sega. She connects with Tim as a fellow parent, Ben over their connection to music, and Jem and Mariah to urge on another generation of strong, badass women, which makes them form the first alliance of the season between the Sega girls. After being the most well-connected on Sega, Maria's careful steps the first half of the game leave her on the back foot at the merge, losing her Sega girls plus Tim back-to-back. Pulling upon the hardest fights of her life, Maria makes one of the biggest moves of the season at the Final 7. When Randon pitches, he joins the Segas to take out his fellow Namis. She sells him out to get closer to the opposition, and it works like a charm. From there, Maria skates by to the Final 4, and she guarantees herself a spot in the Final 3 when she wins the new Final Immunity Challenge, breaking down in tears and dedicating the victory to her family. Despite her comeback story, Maria ultimately plays a supporting role in the Final Tribal Council. Tevin comes alive on stage, leaving the former physical therapist in traction, and she defends being on the losing side of so many post-merge votes. Her closest allies were the Sega girls, which were Jem and Mariah, and her enemy was the jury. So yeah, we both had a big single vote energy from Maria going on here.
Yep.
What do you think, Brandon?
I mean, I thought Liana was from the future. I was just, all the people were right in some capacity. I was distracted by that, but wow. I mean, yeah, I think Maria played a great game. I think like such a good game. She's got like the sauce that you need to go super far in Survivor. She goes super far. I think any shake of this, she's really, really good. It's unfortunate all of what's happened in the past week that I know she's gotten a lot of negative attention for the not voting for Charlie or whatever. It's her prerogative to vote the way that she wants to vote. It's her game. It's not any of your business. If you're somebody who's upset about it, that's what happened. And that's the thing. But I hope that doesn't, in the fans' minds who interact with and watch the show, taint her really, really powerful, in control mafia boss game that she played. I do wonder if she was in front of a jury. I think it probably goes the same way that you're both predicting if she's there. But I do think that, again, 10 times out of 10, you run this simulation back. I think she is the back half, 5 and up most of those times. Yeah. I think she's really, really, she's got it. She's really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. And I will say on top of that, yes, I completely agree that, the lambasting of Maria, I can understand the way that things are done. But look, people will vote for the people they want to vote for at the end of the day. And I know there's also been discourse as to like, you shouldn't vote for the life or outside factors out of the game. I mean, we as people bring ourselves into shows like this, despite the fact that they are a game, and something that builds us is our why as to why we are there. And so I think it is a reason, certainly, why people would vote for someone at the end of the day. I also feel, though, at the same time, like, it's fine if Charlie does not want to necessarily engage with that either. He has obviously expressed that I think due to Maria giving some discrepant reports as to the reason behind her vote, he has very kindly suggested, like, I just don't think we can have that connection at the moment. And that's fine too. Look, 45 is a very special exception with how much y'all have kept in each other's lives postseason. I think it is absolutely fine if someone you were stranded on an island with for, 20-something days, played closely with, and didn't vote for you to win $1 million. It makes you feel a certain way about it to the point where you're saying, I would rather not engage with this in my life. I think that's healthy.
Yeah, for many years. I mean, I think that people who are in the social media verse, they see they have 44 hang out, 45 hang out, and they think this is the norm. But like, you look at any of the seasons pre-40, like this is not happening. We're not all, nobody's hanging out. Nobody, people see each other at Hearts of Reality, RIP, and then that's it for the year. Like this is not normal. And 26 days. Charlie's 26. Maria is not. I don't know how old Maria is, but like it's 26 days is a very brief time in your life. And although this is super, important and impactful to the rest of your life, the people that are in it, there's not an obligation or anything to keep them around. And Charlie is absolutely doing the right thing of like, what, it's just doesn't serve him. And he'd be worse off if he, tried to forge a relationship that he didn't feel hundo P on. So yes, all respect for Charlie for not wanting to engage there.
All right. Well, let us engage with our next eliminated contestant, which was, of course, the one and only Liz. So I love Liz. Did not have the highest prospects for her preseason. I had her going pre-jury, though I do believe she was the last boot right before the merge in the simulation that I ran. Liz, ecstatic her silly shield is on her tribe in Soda, immediately gloms onto her. They bring in Kevin to form the odd squad that runs the first Nami vote. True to her word, we'll get a sequence of Nami complaining about not running rewards and the food they're missing out on. We'll then cut to Liz grinning in utter delight as she revels in their misery. To quote Bane, "You think starvation is your ally? I was born in it." Great reference, Mike. For someone who wants to live this experience by emptying the jug, Liz's stomach and energy levels are quite empty towards the end of the pre-merge as she ends up costing Nami the last post-merge challenge. Despite the loss, the Odd Squad plus Hunter set up an easy vote on Randon, but much to their shock, Randon voids all their votes with his idol, and he puts his single valid vote on Liz, fearing she was too much of a wild card for the tribe. Her closest ally was Soda, and her enemy was Randon.
Okay. Interesting.
So I did predict an idol play this season, which was maybe a bit too far-fetched.
How dare you?
There's, bonus points for that.
Yeah. Okay, so I had Liz making the jury, but I also, she was BFFs with Tevin and Soda for most of the game. I vibed with that as well. But apparently that doesn't mean much as Liz voted out Soda and did not vote for Tevin to win the game. Perhaps Liz's erratic behavior could be explained by the fact that she can't eat anything. Liz must avoid pretty much all food and anyone cutting that food lest she get a flare-up due to aerosolized coconut. Liz is a wild card at Tribal, almost reveals a few blind sides due to her impulsive nature, combined with the lack of food / avoidance of camp. Her allies were Soda and Tevin, and her enemy was food / the island / maybe someone on production is trying to kill her. I remember your preseason interview, and I remember being so incensed that they would allow someone to go out on the island who's allergic to every food on the island. Like, it just felt like a recipe for medevac disaster. And also to find out about her loose wrists. I don't know. I'm still shocked that Liz is allowed to play. Thank God she was. Nothing bad obviously happened because she was a fantastic character. I'm happy that she was out there, but my preseason prediction was 100% rooted in the fact that who the fuck let her play?
I'm still so confused about the loose ligaments. Was she walking around like Mr. Burns the entire time? Is it just that her hands can't be tautly connected to her body?
We need to go back and rewatch and look for that. Maybe
Wait a
there's
minute.
little Easter eggs of her walking around.
If she walks around like this and she claims she's a millionaire, did she want to play like Mr. Burns? Is this the closest anyone's ever come to playing like Mr. Burns on Survivor?
She has a similar, eccentric nature to. I like them a lot. I mean, the thing that the thing this season that people have texted me the most, casuals that I know who watch the show, who've always watched the show, is how did they think this was a good idea to have Liz, who's allergic to everything, be here? And my question, I still don't have an answer. I don't know. I feel like that would have been a deal breaker. I feel like I didn't tell them I had scoliosis. Not that I thought it was going to affect anything, but I don't know. You never know. But I'm so glad she was there. You're exactly right. Oh my God. I mean, this is I am marvel. She's so good. She's such a good TV character. And again, like we don't know what the returning prospects are like, but if Liz wants in again, I want Liz back doing this again.
Mhm.
And again, you talk about that authenticity. I mean, she had, I think, for me, one of the most visceral reactions to a fire-making loss that I've seen, where, like, for lack of a better term, she was pissed, right? She's hugging Kenzie and rolling her eyes, and, like, she does end up crying, but it's kind of played up a bit ludicrously. But like, I had all y'all beat, and everyone's like, so Liz went out in the most Liz way possible, and it
Yeah.
was truly incredible.
Also, I made a note to say this and I forgot. Nobody got the really nice music to get voted out in this season, which is
Yes.
Did Maria get close to it?
she didn't.
No.
I looked this morning. Because I made the note when we watched the other night. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because the fifth, like Julie got it. Julie was the person from our tribe that got it. And nobody got it. Nobody got the very like the David. I think it's called Human by David Vanacore. But this season, no Sia Money, no really nice music. No.
All right. Well, speaking of music, maybe someone that could fill in that soundtrack for that 5th place finisher, Liana. Talk about, again, wacky characters that especially made an impression in the preseason. How did you think Ben was gonna do?
Okay, so I had Ben making the jury. I said that Ben is the editor's go-to contestant when it comes to new catchphrases. We get to hear "Let's go shred a fire," shreditating, and surviving in his confessionals.
I was so happy, by the way, we finally got transcendental shreditation, like right there
know.
at the end. He dropped that bomb to me in the preseason interview, and we didn't get it the entire time.
Last minute. Game-wise, though, vibing, chill Ben struggles with the fast-paced and erratic gameplay of the season because he never solidifies any strong alliances. He's an easy vote, early merge. On the plus side, Ben crushes it as Cogsworth in Tevin's production of Beauty and the Beast, which earns him the Sia money after the season. His ally was Mariah, his enemy was Maria, and I'm sorry, Ben.
Liana, you're the reason why. She read your predictions and she's like, I'm not getting involved in Disney.
Yeah.
Though I still personally think I made this call at Club Condo, but I think if Sia was on the straight and narrow, that if there was 100K, I think it would have gone to Ben. I think like maybe had Maria maybe voted a different way, maybe it would have been her because again of that like in-person eulogy that she got on the way out. But like considering what Ben was able to do, I think it would have gone to him.
100%.
So I'm just going to do a little bit of this Survivor 46 jury style because I had Ben finishing in 3rd place overall as a 0 vote finalist. I said that Ben would become the mascot of Sega, quoting the term Sega Shred, complete with air guitar miming. He'll easily make his way to the merge, helped by Sega's challenge streak and majority on his tribe. Sega gets dismantled in the post-merge, causing Ben to go solo. As a result, he's not seen as a chart topper on the hit list, and he and Maria become an important voting bloc. Think Jake and Katora. After getting brought to the end, cartoon character Ben will keep the jury laughing with his unique approach to the game, but even though he lives life in full color, the one color the jury will make sure he doesn't see is green. His closest allies were Mariah and Maria, and his enemy was nobody.
Yeah.
That's so mean.
It was very biting. Yeah, I mean... Right, but biting. He's fantastic. And I love, again, Panic Attack on Survivor, to be able to talk about it freely, to be able to tweet about it and engage with it online is like, I have more respect for Ben, like, than I can tell you. And also, I had the privilege of going to Ben's show on Thursday night.
Yes, how was that?
Oh my God. I mean, Ben is a rock star. Like, he is, at the foot of the stage playing. He's got the guitar. Like you can lick it. Like the guitar's that close to the stage. I wouldn't, but like it's that close to the audience. And his band was fantastic. The whole place, you couldn't move in there. It was sold out. And it's so, I forget who it is, but there's a comedian who says like his favorite thing, what makes him the most emotional in the world is to see people who are just in their element, who are just doing the thing they love. And they are the best at it. And he looked so happy. He was just like, you could tell. I mean, this is the day after this thing happens where he knows he loses, whatever. Like you would expect maybe spirits to be a little bit lower. But he was in his element. Nobody is better at that than him. Like it was so cool. If you follow Ben on anything and you see tickets to go see him in the place where you live. You should go. It's so much fun. His whole album about Survivor, all Survivor songs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so like he penned a bunch of songs about Survivor, or did he like change lyrics in his previously existing songs to be about Survivor?
No, these are brand new songs. These are all brand new. Tears on the Beach is a song. Blindsided is a song. I believe the Blindsided has a couple more words to the name, but Tears on the Beach, like I've been humming it the whole couple of days, and I believe it's also on Spotify. So if you search Ben Casper on Spotify, you'll see the whole album. I believe. I don't know if it's there yet or if it's coming soon. But it's really he's so good, and I love him. He's a great.
That's amazing. And I believe I saw clips from Dalton Ross that at one point it was like all of Sega except for Maria and Jelinski as the Maria surrogate on stage performing with him.
Yeah, was that right? I guess I never put that math in my head. And yeah, Jessica Chong was there also. But it was Jessica Jelinski, all of Sega, no Maria. And they sang Florida Man, which is, I believe, his closing song, where their role is just to yell Florida Man over and over. And you know what? You wouldn't think that Mariah's headbanging ever. You wouldn't think that Jelinski's a headbanger, but they were going hard. The videos are on Dalton's social media. You got to go find them. They're very, very fun. And they all were like, they're all having so much fun. Nobody goes on Survivor thinking you're going to be on there with a rock star. You're going to be on stage at the Mercury Lounge in the Lower East Side. It's so much fun. Love that.
Is Survivor 46 like the most Florida man season ever?
They have a lot of, you go to Florida for a couple of days and you see a lot of things that happen. Yeah, and a lot of Applebee's in Florida, I imagine.
All right, well, let's move on to Ben's partner in crime, who was out there, I believe, headbanging alongside Jelinski and Mariah. Let's talk about Charlie. So I had Charlie making the jury appropriate as a lawyer. I said that we'll get at least one confessional about why Survivor is like running. I forgot that we really didn't focus on we went really hard on the Swiftie stuff, not on the running stuff with Charlie, which I didn't necessarily expect. True to his Spencer hair and body type, Charlie will be the narrator of the dominant Sega and flagged as the biggest game bot of the cast. We'll get a lot of discourse this season along the lines of poor Charlie being cast with all these big personalities. While Charlie clicks with pretty much everyone on his tribe, he doesn't have a number one as everyone clocks his bookish perception as threatening. Luckily, hitting the merge, Charlie warms himself to the other two tribes as he, Ben, and Maria survive the Sega culling. Unfortunately, at the final six, Charlie finds an advantage and attempts to blow things up in the courtroom of tribal council. His truth bombs work as well as Deshawn, and feeling he's a threat for the end due to not pissing anyone off, the remaining castaways convince Maria to blindside him. His closest ally is Ben. His enemy is no one except Maria at the very last second.
Oh. Wow. That was really good. I can't beat that. Especially because I had Charlie essentially getting purpled because sweet baby Charlie, I'm making jury, by the way. Sweet baby Charlie was just too normal for this cast of wackies. He finds it easy to make alliances, but struggles with the unpredictable nature of their decision making. He faded into the background this season, getting only 14 confessionals. His main because I thought he would be normal and they would want to focus on all the wackies, and then he wouldn't get any airtime, whatever. Anyway, his main plot point this season is he's upset that Tevin casts him as Lumiere when he wanted to be Gaston in the Beauty and the Beast production. He sticks with his ally Maria and is her only vote in the final tribal council. Ally Maria, enemy Tevin.
Okay. Which is interesting because doesn't Charlie give a shout out to Tevin on the jury?
Yep.
Yes, I love that. You can see Tevin love it. That's, I commend Charlie for having to deal with so much stuff, which is interesting, Mike, to a point that you said where, Charlie is this a little bit quieter of a personality around all these big personalities. And you had said like that would be, I forget what your exact word was, but, that really didn't come up. Like nobody really made that, comparison, and he's with, I think, the biggest characters that we've seen in a long time, and I think that's a testament to how he could pull in people and kind of navigate being that quieter person. I think when you have a personality that's like middle, it's hard to give there a little bit more like, I think that because you have so many over the top, it really lend itself well for Charlie's skills to kind of wrangle those folks. And I think that's a super impressive thing that a lot of people can't do.
I also think he's an underrated narrator. Like he's low key funny. Again, he is a seminal part of that Applebee's. I'm just reading your shirt now at the Alphabet. Oh my God, I didn't even realize we had Alphabet and Applebee's as like two of the funniest parts of this season. But he was like a key part of that. He actually has some very good sound bites. So I did love his also low-key emergence of, and again, we talked about this too, Liana, that like it was only inevitable that like the zaniness of Survivor 46 would come for some of the most normal people in Charlie and Maria, who then turn on one another.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I think again that's what makes it like I'm happy that they were there, right, in order to sort of be a little bit of that balancing effect.
Well, last but certainly not least, let's see red here, much like her hair, with Kenzie, our winner.
Mhm.
Liana, I had my listening ears on, and I do believe I know where you thought she might have placed.
Yeah. So I had Kenzie making the finale. I said that Kenzie, Jess, and Tiffany form a tight three early in the game. Palm Frond Hat game, PFH gang, what up? Which propels Kenzie all the way to finale night. When Tevin wins the final immunity, he pits social threat Kenzie against strategic threat Maria in the final four fire making. Kenzie can't compete with Maria's fire making skills, and she is sadly eliminated right before the final three. Kenzie has a montage during the game of her doing people's hair to highlight her strong social game and why she was a threat to win. Her allies were Jess and Tiffany, PFH gang, what up? And her enemy was Maria.
Liana, we should be calling ourselves Natalie and Nadia, because guess who I had going out in fourth place in fire making?
What a
It,
gag.
it was Kenzie. So listen, we were, two limp wrists away from that possibly being an outcome on this
Right?
season. So Kenzie, in my opinion, is the soft, sweet soul of the Yanu tribe. She bonds incredibly well with Banu, helps support Jess through her cognitive struggles, and gets in tight with Tiffany and Q strategically. She'll have by far the best looks of the season between her hairstyles and outfits. The internet will call her the Toot Queen of 46, which, for those not in the Drag Race fandom, feels like it has a different meaning. We'll get an on-screen call out to Carolyn as Kenzie talks to her fellow castaways about the meaning behind all of her tattoos. Living up to her self-proclaimed blabbermouth persona, she ends up accidentally indicating to the opposition that Tiffany has something, helping pave the way for the blind side of her number one ally. Not too dissimilar from her being like, "Hey, we should take out Tiffany. Hey, never mind." Now lost at the merge, Kenzie finds her lobster in Soda and Tevin as they vibe on their shared energy and sense of humor. When Maria wins the final immunity challenge, she puts the two biggest social threats against each other in Tevin and Kenzie. Unfortunately, she can't hold a literal candle to him, eliminating her. She'll be remembered in the style of Lauren Ashley Beck or Kara Kay, as someone who would have won it all had they made it to the end, but doesn't necessarily receive an edit indicating that. I said her closest ally would be Tiffany, then Tevin and Soda, and her enemy was Maria.
Interesting. Yeah, so her getting like the quieter edit, not showing why she would have won. I think that that's interesting because I do think that like if Kenzie doesn't end up winning, that's 1,000% the edit that she gets. Like I think her edit, obviously you had all of the chaos early on, but I think especially the post merge stuff, like because she won, I think got so much more content than she may have otherwise.
Yeah, and to that point, how do we feel about the Kenzie edit? Because she has the most confessionals of any female player in Survivor history. To Liana's point, I think it's part of the double-headed coin that was 90-minute episodes and her going to tribal council her losing every immunity challenge except one in the pre-merge. I know that some people felt it was a little too obvious that we were seeing so much of her and Ben in particular. Did we like this? Do we feel like this was sort of like the 2.0 of what we should have got with Michelle back in Co Wrong?
Well, even before the episodes had come out, I know Reality TV Fan, which is a very good Instagram account that has all reality TV news. They do like their who do you think's gonna win? A little poll, And Kenzie's at the top of the poll before any episodes happen, right?
Yeah.
And so was D, I think, and Jam Jam was high up there. Like Kenzie just radiates winner to me. Kenzie has the sauce, which I think, too late for 47. They're on the island now. But if you're going to 48, like I thought Caleb had that. And in a different world, Caleb does, and Caleb wins the game. Caleb goes farther. If you see the person who just radiates the winning energy, if you just get that feeling, whatever it is, the tingle in your stomach, whatever, vote them out. They're going to win. They're Caleb is an enigma in that situation, but like they're going to win. So that's my 2 cents. During the episodes, it did feel a little bit obvious at a certain point, but even people thought it was obvious before we even saw the intro. It was obvious weeks and weeks before the show started. So my lesson for 48 people is you're going to see the people. You're going to be there. You're going to be in the hotel and in the airport or wherever. You're going to see the people that just have the aura. Kenzie has the aura, and Kenzie's got $1 million because of that aura. And she put in a lot of work to get there, obviously. But if you see that natural aura, time to cut.
Yeah, I mean, I can confirm it. I saw it out there as well. I felt incredibly charmed by just sitting there and talking with her. She's very good at what she does. This is what she's been doing since she was 15 years old. As she said, my thing was that I thought everyone would catch on to it, especially just watching what Jam Jam did in the exact same profession. I would imagine these people would be like, oh yeah, we got to get rid of that immediately. And to be fair, you had people like Jess and Banu trying to do that early on. And according to Q, had Brandon not had a bad arm, it could have been Kenzie going for that exact reason. But yeah, then she was able to really get her claws in with those dragon talons into people and really make them feel good, where they were able to make it work. And truly the predictions they were putting forward, even as far as the preseason, came true.
For sure.
There we go.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I would say, again, despite Jeff saying who could have clocked this, Liana, you and I both pretty much predicted that like Maria, Ben, and Kenzie would all make the finale. So
yeah, I mean, there's certain people I feel like that just stand out. And to Brandon's point about the sparkly personalities, like you just sort of immediately start to gravitate to them if you hear their preseason press. And so I think those people just immediately stand out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's close things out, not talking about our own opinions. We're going to talk about the opinions of the casuals on the Survivor Facebook page. So I have a little itty bitty game that we're going to play. Yeah, that's why we're doing a little itty bitty game. Only not that many questions, but we're just
I imagine there's
essentially what the major takeaways were.
Is there a Liz gif we could use to describe how the casuals are feeling about the outcome of Survivor 46?
Did you see her with the knife? She was during the fire challenge. Oh, God forbid. Blur that. Blur what I just did. Continue.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting. So we're going to play this a little bit differently than we have for Casuals Corner in the past. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a comment, and then like our Price's Roar game, we're going to have you both guess how many likes you think this comment got. And this includes likes and hearts. So essentially any sort of positive interaction with the post. And we'll see where the casuals end up when it comes to their majority opinion. So I'm going to start with the first comment, and then Mike, you'll give how many likes, followed by Brandon, and we'll alternate. So here is comment number 1. Every year, people tend to forget that #Survivor is a social game. Kenzie played an excellent social game and built strong relationships. She was hardly ever mentioned as a threat, wasn't on anyone's radar, and her win is well-earned and deserved. Mike, how many likes do you think this comment got?
They're not going to read all that. They're going to see the first sentence and be like, no, downvote, angry face. 7.
Okay.
Ooh, wow,
Several.
that's low. Okay.
Okay, Brandon, what
I
do you
was
think?
going higher. I was
Okay.
I was going really high. Let me go with, I'm going to go 80. Final answer.
Okay. So Brandon is correct. He was closer. This comment actually had 122 likes.
Oh, okay. Look at this.
So-
All right. I'm happy to be wrong about this one.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's go on to the next comment. This is comment number 2. One of the worst seasons of Survivor ever.
Okay, there we go.
Pathetic that Charlie lost. Brandon, how many likes do you think this comment got?
Okay. I've been on the Facebook. They're not a kind people. Give me 178. Final answer.
Okay, 178. Mike?
Oh, I'm going to go, let me be a jerk in true Survivor 46 style, 179.
Okay, well, being a jerk paid off.
Yeah!
Brandon, you set the number so close. It's 183.
Oh!
Like, you were so close. So unfortunately, Mike gets this one from you, but you should be proud that you were that close. That's amazing.
That's actually a pretty good ratio of like the, hey, good for Kenzie to boo, Charlie was robbed. I thought it'd be so much more of an exorbitant ratio.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Comment number 3. It's shameful that Maria didn't vote for Charlie. She was bitter that Charlie made the final 3. Mike, you're up first.
I mean, okay, so I'm debating, like, is the Charlie number of likes the upper threshold, but the Maria opinion is much more charged. So I'm gonna go with like a straight 200 and just see where we go from there.
Okay.
That's the exact rationale I would have used, and I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go my number for the first one was going to be 288, which is too high, but I'll lock in 288 for right now.
Okay. I don't know how you're doing this. It's 289.
What?
Wow.
That's amazing. At first I was like, oh no, he's gonna overshoot it. But then no, 288
Right
is
under
one
the
under
wire.
289.
They
That's
said he wasn't good at
amazing.
challenges, baby. I went on the wrong show.
Yes, exactly.
This is the show for me.
Yeah, so that had 289 likes for that comment.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if you can do it again. Comment number 4 is, someone please confirm that Liz stood no chance at winning. She had to be delusional.
Okay.
Brandon, we're going to you first.
I'm gonna go low again. This is
Okay.
now I have to get it close. I'll go 139. Final answer.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good number. On the one hand, I feel like Liz was kind of an afterthought in the discourse about the finale. On the other hand, Liz draws a lot of attention to herself for loving reasons. I'm still gonna shoot the under, so I will say 135.
Okay, and Brandon, what did you say again?
I said 139.
Okay, so this has 396 likes. So Brandon, the point goes to you.
Holy
yeah.
I feel
moly!
bad celebrating, but I'm thrilled
Yeah.
that I got the point.
Yeah, I was actually shocked because I expected the whole conversation to be essentially Kenzie shouldn't have won. Charlie should have won. Why didn't Maria vote for Charlie? So for Liz to get that much comment for this, I was very surprised.
Well, you know what's interesting is that, like, again, not to turn this into a dialogue about the edit, but like, I did not think that Liz got a negative edit at all. I think Liz got a very fun, like, there are points of it, I guess, where you could point to, like, this isn't great for the casual audience, but like, I didn't think it was bad, but the casuals, they wrangle in numbers, and RIP.
I think part of the issue is when she starts out by, like, the first thing we really learn about Liz is that she's a millionaire and doesn't deserve you know what I mean? So I think that probably sticks with you.
Incredible that now she has finally revealed that was all a lie, that she purposely said that to go to the end and then say, here are my bank statements, here are my pay stubs, I was lying to you the whole time, vote for me to win. I have no earthly clue if it would have worked, but if there was any cast to try it with, it would have been Survivor 46.
It could have stuck to it. I forgot about that. I forgot that happened. I'm very safe. I've been a drill head right now. But yeah, okay. I retract, but I pull it back. But I want to be better at the game than I am at this.
All right, let's go to comment number 5. As soon as Liz touched Kenzie's plank, she should have been disqualified from that contest. If I had been Charlie or Ben or Maria, I would have felt cheated out of the opportunity to compete fairly. Shame on the producers of the show for letting this happen. I hope in the future it never happens again. This will always be a tainted season.
Oh, now question, was the profile pic that of Anna Waddingham as Septa Nunella from Game of Thrones? Like, that's love.
What a monologue.
Yeah, absolutely love the ardent Protestant nature of these comments. So it mentions Liz. I think that's at least 300 comments. Locked it. I'm going to say, I'll go big here. Let's say 420.
That's what I was going to say.
We love.
I think this is a good top comment. This is a good, like, this, I can see this at the top of the thing, because it's like people are kind of split on the Maria Charlie situation, but I can see a lot of people, a lot of casuals in particular, wrangling around this, and it doesn't help them that it's somebody that they already dislike. Also, it's somebody that, like, I think that all of this together, I don't know, 469. I'll do another meme number.
Okay. Well, first of all, I love both your number choices. That brings me joy.
Okay.
But Brandon, this should bring you even more joy because this comment had 551 likes. You're absolutely correct. It was the top comment on the reel, the like Facebook reel or whatever. So yeah, you nailed it with that. It was a ton. And for such a long comment too.
If there's anything that Facebook likes more than white men, it's ethics. And so I think it just makes sense.
Love that. All right. So Brandon, I think technically you have won the game. Mike, you're mathematically eliminated, but let's close things out with our very last comment. And this is about Final Tribal Council. Why do we care what they do with the money? Has nothing to do with outplay, outwit, or outlast.
Close.
So Brandon, what do you think on this one?
I mean, like, I feel like this is like if you've been watching Survivor for 20 years, which all the Facebook people have, like you know this is something they talk. Like it's just a weird. I don't know. The sudden gripe about the money is just because you're upset about it. I feel like who won. I'm gonna go low. I'm gonna go 112. Final answer.
Okay, Mike.
I'll nickel and dime it here and go 113 because I feel like, well, I agree. It's a pretty run-of-the-mill opinion. It's something that people are ardently stating every season like they think it's something brand new.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're both absolutely in the ballpark. This was 122, so technically the point goes to Mike, but you were both very, very, very close, only 10 or 9 away. So I'm impressed.
Wow. Listen, it's all Brandon. Brandon's suggesting these random numbers, and I'm just like, yeah, let's just like go a skosh higher or lower.
Wow.
Piggybacking off it.
Yeah,
Price is Right really is my show. Maybe Price is Right.
You're the Liz. I'm the Kenzie here. I'm just like, you're getting my board. I'm like, I'll just put this number in.
Yeah, love it. Listen, I'll do that anytime. That was a lot of fun.
Yes. Okay. Well, congratulations, Brandon. You are the winner here. I just want to read the tiebreaker comment that I had because it just makes me laugh. But a casual decided to specify several does mean 7. And hopefully Maria means nothing to Charlie.
I gotta say, like,
We're
that's
done.
scathing, but like that's pretty damn witty. Like, I gotta give him up. It's like that's very good writing.
Okay, well then maybe this comment goes from 84 to 85 likes. If Mike has his way about it, he's like,
no, because someone's gonna screenshot like Mike Bloom like this tweet saying Maria deserves nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, so that should hopefully give you a general profile of how the casuals are feeling at the end of the season. Not to add to the negativity, because I think again, like, what are we remembering? What are we trying to cultivate and take away? Which is like, don't be mean.
Don't be mean.
Yeah. And what we are going to remember, though, is a very fun season at the end of the day. I think I want a bit of time away to figure out like where it rates, at least within my thoughts on new era seasons. But I've said it before. I'll cement it now that I think 45 and 46 are the most back-to-back pair of unhinged seasons we've had since Micronesia and Gabon, or maybe Cagayan and San Juan del Sur. Like, absolutely up there. Just a wild season from top to bottom. And I think the ratings show like just how not even just 46, but again, 45 into 46. I really do think that the new era just took a significant step forward the past 2 seasons, whether it was due to the casting, whether it was due to the elements that happened, whether it was the 90-minute episodes. Like, I just feel so good about Survivor right now because we're having fun. Like, I understand that people have their quibbles about new era structures, or if people feel like I want to watch good gameplay and this season didn't have good gameplay, that's totally your prerogative. But I know Liana and I just like to come on and like shoot the shit about how wacky Survivor can be. And especially this season, we have been in excess with source material.
For sure. I mean, there's no better time to be a fan of the program. You know, you got Australian Survivor, if that's your jam, you got this. I mean, we're all having fun, and it's good vibes all around. I feel like that, but it's like we're all just, you know, it wasn't always this fun. I've been around, Mike's been around, Liana's been around. It sometimes is a lot less fun than this. And I'm so fortunate that I get to do any of this. Like, I get to be a part of it in these, you know, conversations. So I'm thrilled, and I'm thrilled that we get more. We have more in a couple months with people that we know. It's crazy. It doesn't matter who it is.
Is that a bird in the background?
Yeah.
What's that?
No, Leon's just making bird noises in the background.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that a lot.
I'm obviously very excited for 47 overall, but I think that is my biggest takeaway, is that this season flew by, especially doing the B&B, because it's just so silly and wacky. And we always had weird stuff to talk about every week because this cast was giving when it came to the weird stuff. So I had an absolute blast this season. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
Well, let's formally put a bow on this like we do in every B&B podcast. Brandon, it's all on you right now. Bring your winning skills into going from giving us numbers to giving us a charity or cause that you feel is something to highlight for the listeners out there. Anything you want to give a spotlight to in this moment?
Well, I did the Survivor trivia a couple weeks ago, Twitch.
Yes.
And in that, I donated the money that I won to Survivor Affirmations. His name is Dylan Doyle. If you go on survivor.affirmations, I believe that's the Instagram account. He's organizing a walk for his father who passed away from ALS about 18 months ago. The walk is on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
We are still right under the wire. If you wanted to donate, if you wanted to throw some money, ASL, obviously a horrible disease, a disease that a lot of the Survivor family has seen happen to Jonathan Petter's wife.
Yeah.
And, Dylan has been so much fun to see the memes that he's posted. Follow Survivor Affirmations if you already don't. He makes very, very funny, good content. And again, the walk is on Saturday. I mean, we are under the wire in terms of donations. So you absolutely should find your way there. And, any step towards, curing ALS is the move, for us.
Yes. Listen, the idea of charity may not, unfortunately, extend to Survivor players, but I would say be the charity you wish to see in the world and give your money over to the causes that are important to you. Liana, if you could smirk any further, I think your mouth would fall off your face.
Look, this is why we podcast together, Mike. It's for moments like this. They brings me joy.
All right. Well, Brandon, this was such a joy to have you on. So it was a long time coming. You have such B&B energy that you carry throughout. So I was so happy to have you on. So happy to see you on Wednesday as well, to experience it live in person, to experience your first finale as like an alumni in person, and obviously for various reasons to watch that 40 several preview, as you mentioned. But anything you like to plug? What else do you have going on that people might want to know about?
I mean, nothing much. I'm just, I'm around. If you need me, I'll take you to the Philadelphia airport if you live around me, whatever you need.
No, don't be offer yourself as an Uber.
I'm so excited. It's crazy how accessible I am. It was, I'm having so much fun doing all of this. I can't wait for Big Brother. I can't wait to just tweet for the summer and Survivor 40 several. I'm super excited about John Lovett. I'm geeking over John Lovett. I can't wait. I know I'm not supposed to say it maybe, but I love John Lovett. I'm so excited.
I mean, Pod Save America did make his picture their like profile for the episode, I think, after the preview drop. So
yes.
Yeah, and I think pretty sure Hollywood Reporter like confirmed it. So I can't say anything, but I'll say a guy that looked a lot like John Lovett appears to be on Survivor 40 several.
What the best part about the John Lovett discourse was when it got obviously posted, the preview. Everybody who knows John Lovett was like, oh no, this isn't good. And I as somebody who that resonates with me for quite a bit, his intro in the preview is like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I was a Cub Scout. I threw up. I went home. Like, that's like, he's doing it for me. This is the first representation of Brandon Donlon in a post Brandon Donlon Survivor world. And I'm so excited to see John Lovett. But otherwise, follow me, Brandon Donlon, on anything. I'm around. If you need anything, message me. I'm around always.
All right.
I'm also very sick. If you have Benadryl, bring Benadryl, bring a Pedialyte, bring something. I'm so sick.
Well, thank you for pushing through, Brandon.
Yes,
I really appreciate that, and for bringing your always sterling quips to the podcast. Liana, I know that you have brought 2 of your shows now down to a close, but you're still covering some stuff, including an oft-mentioned show on this particular podcast.
That's right. Masked Singer and Survivor might be over, but the Drag Race All-Star Season 9 season is in full swing. We just recorded for episode 3. It's been really interesting and really fun so far. I actually was a little bit nervous with the cast. I didn't know how it was going to go and how they were going to vibe. And I also, with a non-elimination format, like, is this really what we want? But 3 episodes in, I'm having an absolute blast. So I highly recommend checking out both the show and the podcast with Beth, Amon, and I.
All right. And you can check out all of the stuff I've done in the wake of Survivor 46. Of course, I woke up quite early to talk with this final 5 and got some really fantastic interviews. Obviously, a lot of stuff has been making the rounds, in particular, Maria explaining why she voted for Kenzie and why her why vibed with Kenzie's why. Charlie, as I mentioned before, talking about his own reaction to the final tribal council and revealing maybe why him and Maria will not necessarily be in the same fictional family moving forward. It was all some really great stuff with, again, a cast that I have loved up and down. I have been so happy to have the chance to follow this cast, from interviewing them out in the early days before the game started to following them after the show. It has just been such an electric cast, and I am so excited I got a chance to touch the wire, I suppose, for the past PSA. Don't touch wires, people. Don't do that. But you can check out Survivor coverage happening in the off-season. I've got a few things up my sleeves. The one I will announce right now is that I'm doing a weekly off-season podcast on Wednesdays, because we're not only wearing pink, we're still talking Survivor on Wednesdays. The Summer of Survivor. It'll be an off-season podcast series where myself and Shannon Gus are just going to do something about Survivor. every Wednesday. We kind of have branded it behind the scenes, like basically the RHAP of Survivor. We'll see how far that mechanism ends up coming into. Actually, on this Wednesday at our usual time this season of 7 p.m. Eastern live, it'll be the two of us and Rob, and we're basically going to be doing like one big mailbag where we're going to be bringing in suggestions. We've been kind of petitioning the patrons to bring them in. We'll take suggestions live in the chat, I'm sure, as well, and kind of like put together a bit of a grab bag as to at least initially what we're going to do this summer. And then every week we'll come back with a new idea and do a new Survivor podcast, because again, there's a lot of eyes on Survivor at this moment. We want to keep the momentum going. So if you're into checking out more Survivor stuff in a miscellaneous variety, check out Summer of Survivor every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Brandon, I'll petition you now. Any suggestions you want to bring up of off-season podcasts to do?
I have wanted to do this myself, and I haven't had the resources to do so. I want to find everybody who's on Survivor who's ever worn a shirt or an article of clothing with text on it. Like Bonu's got "Be Kind." I know Travis Sampson obviously has Bob Barker. Like, I want to find all of those and then figure out who has the best thing. Mike White has "Can't We All Just Get Along?"
Yes.
Like, the graphic tee, the font on the tee. I there's something there that I want to just, it's a Survivor fashion show.
Yeah, so we did do actually an Outwit Out Playout list for shirts a while back, though. This was like 2-3 years ago, but always worth a revisiting, especially because we do have, to your point, Banu's "Be Kind" shirt as a key example. So again, we are open to any and all ideas. We'll start filtering through those on Wednesday, and a couple other projects in the pike as well that should be very exciting to people, not only looking ahead to Survivor 40 several, but perhaps an anniversary season to come. Of course, when Big Brother starts up as well, I'll be covering that whole haul when that happens in about a month and a half. Other stuff as well. I'm doing exit press right now for the Challenge All-Star Season 4, for the GOAT, for Top Chef, because there is still a bunch of reality TV happening as well. The very last thing that I will plug is, if you like Survivor and if you like fantasy football, I did something really wild in the fall where I did an ORG where basically it was like a game of Survivor, but the challenges were fantasy football, where you drafted a team and like whoever scored the most points won immunity that week, and then you'd vote somebody out. It is absolutely insane on the surface that I committed myself to this, to the point where I should have been committed. But I absolutely loved it, and they're currently casting for season 2 right now. I said I would do the plug here on the B&B. If you're interested in any of that nonsense, as you are with our nonsense, you can email survivorfantasy3232@gmail.com, because it's part of the 32 Fans Network. I bring it up now because by the time we come back for 40 several, football season will have already begun. So just putting that in early. And yeah, one more thing that I will plug is that sooner rather than later, the cast of 40 several will drop, and I can confirm I did get a chance to talk with the contestants. It was done in the way that I talked to the 45 cast, which was through this screen in this room, but hopefully it still comes across that this is a very fun group of people with some special faces that we might get the chance to talk about down the line. But that's going to do it for another season of coverage on the B&B. I love getting to do this so much, especially when the season is as wackadoo as this one was. So special thanks to everyone who showed up at the B&B this season, be it Izzy, Jordan Kalish, Kevin Jacobs, Kendra from 45, Kirsten and Sasha, Dwight, Beth, Jesse and Omer, Franny, Justin McElroy, Jamie, and then, of course, Puya last week. It was such a great mix of alumni, of notables from outside of Survivor, and then, of course, podcasters themselves. I'm so excited to take a few months off, have our summer of Survivor, if you will, and then come back again. Of course, our entire team behind the scenes at RHAP for making sure this podcast is packaged for your eyes and ears on a weekly basis. Will from America for his incredible theme song. And last but not least, to my number one, Liana, who I would never turn on. We are bonded on podcasts and in fabric now, and I am so excited to see what depraved nonsense we get to wear next season on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. The B&B is always full of chaos, and we're going to continue to do that no matter what happens.
Yes, we will be the constant, even in a sea of variables. But school's out. We're not talking math anymore. We're going to take a bit of a hiatus, but we will be back talking Survivor in the fall for Survivor 40 several. Until then, everybody, we'll check you out at your next stay.